Sunday night football, the Baltimore Ravens at the Jacksonville Jaguars. We have injury concerns with Trevor Lawrence and his high ankle sprain. We have the Ravens coming off a thrilling overtime win against the Los Angeles Rams. This one is Ravens -3, total of 42.5. Trevor Lawrence played last week, Adam. Trailed for most of the game, but he played through that, got a full participation in this week. Just based on what we know about high ankle sprains, that doesn't mean he's anywhere near 100% in this week's game. So where are you landing on this one? Because I think the Ravens offense was really impressive. Their defense less so. And now they have to go on the road and cover more than 3.
This one is a wind game. And it is the biggest wind game outside of Miami, where we already told you, hey, don't pay as much attention to that in your handicap. But the wind is going to be almost as bad in Jacksonville as it is in Miami. And we've seen this total go up in some places as high as 43. It's a Sunday night game. If you want to look at the way Sunday night games typically get bet, it's going to get bet up unless people look and see the right before Carrie Underwood starts singing, we see rain and wind. They're going to run to the window and bet under in this one. I'll pass overall. If I had a lean, it would be under based on the weather and based on the fact that I am not a believer that the Jacksonville defense is as bad as it has looked. And look, it just has looked terrible for a few weeks here. There has to come a point where this bounces back the other way, I believe, with the level of talent that is on this defense. But there's not enough for me here to play anything in this one. I'm going to pass overall, but I'll definitely listen to a case if you want to try to pitch me something.
All right, I'm going to pitch you a case based on weather here, and this is going to require everybody to at least keep an eye on the forecast because for what it's worth, there's a chance, it looks like, as we get closer and closer to kickoff, with this being Sunday night football, that it's going to clear up a little bit. Again, it's a forecast. I don't know if this is actually going to happen, but at least as we record Friday afternoon right now, we're getting forecast that the rain's going to stop completely by kickoff. And the wind is going to go from, 20 to 25 miles per hour, now down to like 15 to 20 miles per hour. Now, the gusts would still potentially be a concern in the kicking game, et cetera, but that's at least more manageable if it's under 20 miles per hour. So if that is, in fact, the forecast we get, Sunday afternoon comes around, it looks like that's going to be the case. Well, now I am interested in the over in this game, if it's 42.5, under the keyish number of 43, because the Jaguars defense is giving me major Lions defense vibes lately. Like, they have been bad. They look more like the defense we all thought they would look like compared to the first half of the season, where we couldn't figure out why they were so good, considering the talent that they have on the roster defensively. Since week 9, their bye week, 27th defensively by EPA per play, 30th by dropback success rate. Same time span, the Baltimore defense has struggled a little bit. They're only 20th by those two metrics. And I think we both agree, Adam, that we would trust these offenses. And even though Trevor Lawrence had the high ankle sprain, he at least showed some ability to move the football, even though a lot of it was coming from behind against the Browns last week. So I like the over here, and I actually like the Ravens to cover 3 as well if we're going to get a decent weather report here. I'm very impressed with what I've seen from this offense. I think they can move the ball at will against this Jaguars defense with the concerns I just mentioned. And even though I think the Jags score some points in this game, this is still the Jags offense without Christian Kirk. This is still Trevor Lawrence being immobile, which was a big weapon for them. I'm kind of ready to declare at this point that the Jags are a playoff team, but they're not. They're pretenders. They are not Super Bowl contenders. So that game last week, they scored points, but they were down 10 points for most of the second half. I'm pretty happy if the weather is going to be improved like I hope it is. Pretty happy with both of these bets, honestly.
Well, unfortunately for the Jaguars, they will not have a Chargers team in the playoffs where if they fall down 27, they're live to come back.
Yeah, that is true. The last thing I'll mention here too, if we look holistically at these teams and use yards per play for that, the Ravens are number 5 on the year. The Jags are 29th in net yards per play. They have a negative net yards per play mark on the season. And the Ravens are number 3, both in net yards per play overall on the year and over the past 3 weeks. Jags, again, 27th in net yards per play over the past 3 weeks. So I think they've been kind of a product of the schedule and not good opponents, Adam, to be honest with you.
Look, there are a handful of teams, and I'll run through them real quick for you here, but New Orleans to some degree, Seattle, Jacksonville, that's probably the top of my list for teams that I just don't know what to do with week to week in the NFL, and that makes it really hard for me to get involved with this handicap. Because not only do I not know if I'm going to get the good Jags or the bad Jags, I still have the Trevor Lawrence injury to try to worry about too.
Yeah, for me at this point, I don't know what to do with them when they're playing teams in their same tier and below, when they're going to get be decent favorites. I'm totally out on the Jags when they're punching above their weight class at this point. They got completely demolished by the 49ers a couple of weeks ago. Now they're compromised offensively with their number 1 target out and their quarterback not being able to move around a lot. So if I'm wrong, I'll come back on the show next week and tip my hat. But there's a lot wrong here with Jacksonville, in my opinion.